So it looks like we're live. I should probably just check as well. So hold on one moment and I will just check before we do a quick introduction that we're appearing on there. Just refresh. Right, yes, there we are. There's me in NU, doubled again. Cool. So I am Zoe. I am the Academy Mentor for the UK. Oh, look, comments. I should have waited to see the comments. Some lovely people come to watch. And Stacey is one of our students. Well, you've finished, haven't you, Stacey? That tiny last little bit.
One last little bit.
Yeah. Have you been, how long have you been doing your course? Do you remember?
I think I started a while ago, like 2017, I think. But I took a big gap in between because, I mean, life just happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And then it picked it back up last year, I think.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You absolutely can't you? Because, you know, things do happen. Oh, look,
it's
Kylie, Liz, hi, Tiana. I've got it. Also, when you move, you're moving the opposite direction to how you're on the screen.
Oh, yeah, that's strange, that.
Yeah, I need to get better at that. So we were just saying before we went live that we used to chat to our students lots. We used to do little interviews. But hi, Monica, but the technology changed and some of the platforms and the things we used to use, we couldn't use anymore. The internet and the Wi-Fi, we used to have all sorts of connections, but we've got some really lovely old ones. So we're trying to kind of revive that and get back to speaking to our students, sharing some of what they've been doing, because that's really important. And especially now, we just thought we just need to get back and reconnect with people. So hi to everybody. Kimberly, I'll have to put my glasses on if there's any questions. If there are any questions, please do add them. So, Stacey, where are you based?
I'm in Manchester, in the UK.
Yeah. And so a little bit about your background, Stacey, because you do have quite an eclectic range of things you love and do. And
yeah, I've always been creative in some way. I trained as a dancer since I was 5. I've done that most of my life, really. Trained as a musical theatre performer, so I sing and dance. And then I've worked as visual merchandiser for fashion brands for 6 years as well, kind of amongst that time. So my background is quite varied, really, but it's kind of where my business has come out from. So I use my background a lot.
Yeah, quite creative as well, I suppose.
Yeah, like I've always been visual, so it's just comes naturally, I guess.
Yeah, I remember talking to you, I think, because I don't sing. You sing beautifully. I don't sing, but I did dance training and I was a secondary school dance teacher. So I can sort of remember, and I've had that before from other people who were like, that creativity that you perhaps hold back on because you think, you know, get a proper career and then, you know, it comes back out and it needs to show itself.
Yeah.
So, so when did you actually start your business?
I fully launched my business in October last year, so it's still fairly new.
Yeah.
Still,
but you haven't finished the course, which is fine, which is great.
Yeah.
You don't have to have. You know, I think you have to just get to a point where you feel like you're ready or you're confident, don't you? And did you know when that was?
Yeah, I think I took my time with it. I didn't want to rush it and go into it naively thinking that I knew everything fairly quickly. I thought, well, I'll take time. And there was a point where I thought to myself, I'd kind of, you know, I kept going over stuff on the course, and I did a shoot actually before I even thought to launch, just to get my creativity going, because I was getting like, I feel like I can maybe do it now. And then I think that combined with where I was up to and what I was doing on the course kind of was like, you know what, I feel like this might be time now. I feel in a good place. that I've got knowledge. I feel like I have enough, and yeah, so I just went for it. But I felt like I'd got to a place where knew that I could do it, and I could put myself out there enough and understand enough, and have that backup almost to back me up in terms of the knowledge I have and all that kind of thing before launching. But no, I hadn't finished. I still haven't fully finished the course.
And no, I agree. I think everybody does it at different times, at different stages, or does little bits. But sometimes you need to test it, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
There's no point in studying for 5 years, worrying too much about getting all of those final projects and assignments and assessments done if you don't test yourself, if you don't put yourself out there a little bit. And one of the things that you have found that works for you and that you're really talented at is your styled shoots.
Oh, I love styled shoots.
Yeah, so you've done, how many have you done? 3, 4?
4 of my own, and then I've done 1 for someone else. So 5 altogether. I love them. Yeah.
So the first one you did, tell us a little bit about how scary or what that was like.
Oh, it was terrifying because I hadn't actually launched my business yet. I did it in August last year. So it was and I was really honest with people when I was putting myself out there and was saying, my business is going to launch in October. I'd already set my date because I knew I'd back out of it if I didn't. Mm-hmm. So I'd given myself a date, and I just said, this is what I want to do. And, my business is launching soon. I really want to connect with people and collaborate. And I got a really nice team on board, and everyone was so supportive. And yeah, it was great. I was terrified because you do get a bit of newbie fear, thinking that people are going to think you don't know what you're talking about. But if you trust yourself enough and you really know what the shoot is in your head, then it's gonna happen. Like, you just have to kind of, I think fear sometimes spurs people on a little bit more. It does with me. If I put myself in a difficult, awkward, uncomfortable situation, yes, I tend to get more out of it. So I just have to take the leap and just go for it.
I think you're right. And I think that's a lot of what the course can do for people, and what some training or support or any of this does is it brings it to the top of the list. It makes it a bit more of a priority, especially when you've paid for it. But it also just gives you that little bit of a push. You've got some support. So if you need, you can ask. Like Tiana's here saying, how did you go about asking people to help you with your styled shoots? Well, I know what you're going to say. You just did, didn't you? You just did it, Stacey.
Yeah, it depends where people are based, because obviously with the Academy students and people who follow the Academy from everywhere in the world. But in the UK, we have some amazing groups, like local groups. Like, I'm in Manchester, so we have Northwest-based networking groups, styled shoot groups, just loads of places online as well that you can go to. Or I actually just message people on Instagram as well sometimes, and just started a conversation. And
because also on Instagram, you can see their style as well, and if they'd connect with you. And another thing that I think works well is if you can find similar people to you that are just starting out, or maybe in the first 6 months to a year, they're all keen and eager, and you can really help each other then. Yeah. So have you used similar people for each of your styled shoots, or do you start again with each one, Stacey?
I think I've had one person, 2 people I've used for all my shoots that I've done, just because we work really well together and we understand each other and what we bring. But I've worked with different photographers, and I generally try and have a few new people in each one. I'm doing a few soon, and I want to kind of connect with new people. It's just because then you don't, you're just widening your network and finding these new people and who you might work with really well. But at the beginning, when I did my first one, I did have a few suppliers who were fairly new in terms of wedding based. So the florist I use, she's been a florist for a while, but she has a vintage shop, and that was her focus, was buying vintage items. And she was just going into weddings, so she was setting up that. So that was really nice to work with her, because we kind of we understood each other, that we were fairly new.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you start conversations on Facebook or Instagram, if you can get into Facebook groups and then you start conversations with people, you'll get a feel for who they are and what they do. You get that conversation going between the two of you. It's like the next step of the conversation to sort of say, so I wouldn't just like blanket straight away go, do you want to do a styled shoot with me? Yeah. I would get to know these people, chat to them, find out more about them, build a little bit of a relationship first. So they, even if you've got no website, no nothing, and you don't have the business, but just so you get to know each other and where you are and the likes and the people that you work with and the venues that you work with. Because you have a particular style, Stacey. How did you find your style?
It kind of comes from me anyway. I don't know if you can really tell. I'm just kind of a bit, I'm very colourful. I like kind of darker colours, like rich colours, but things that stand out. And I think I've always been that person that dresses a little bit more boldly than my friends. And I think it's just kind of stemmed from that, and kind of I love interiors and I love like fashion, and it's just kind of come from that, I guess. And with being a musical theatre performer for a while, costumes, I love costumes, and it's all kind of come together, I think, from my background.
Yeah, so you just bring a bit of you, don't you, in the beginning?
Yeah,
because you will be.
It's important.
Yeah, I mean, your brand and everything about, you've got to love it as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
If you don't love it, you won't.
And I think when I first was thinking about what I wanted my brand to be in my business, I was kind of thinking what I thought people wanted to see rather than what I connected to. So that's kind of where I took time, because I think in my head I was looking at all these images in magazines and thinking, oh, people, this must be what everyone wants to see, so this must be what I have to do to get anywhere.
We're trying to repeat things that we're seeing. And that actually is kind of the opposite of what we need to do. We need to stand out to get noticed, because people will come to you because of your distinct style over other people. So what have the styled shoots done? How have they helped you personally with your business to grow? How, you said you're doing more. What are the benefits of the styled shoots?
I think for me, they're just a great creative tool almost. Like the first shoot I ever did was just to play around with. I knew what my brand colours or what I wanted them to be, and I think the shoot kind of came from thinking of these colours and wanting to see how they worked and what I could create with them. And I think it was just a case of playing around with stuff and seeing what it looked like, and whether
that helped to develop your brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Helped. And must have helped to develop your confidence.
Oh, massively. I think it was terrifying, and it's always going to be terrifying when you do your first one. Like you can't not be terrified, but you just have to use it. And I think it just it spurred me on absolutely to think that I was doing the right thing, because I went there and I was absolutely shaking inside, like so terrified of being like, hi, I'm the person that's created this and brought you all together, and feeling a bit of a fraud. But actually, it was amazing, and the people were lovely, and I think it just gave me the boost I needed, and I loved every single second of it. So for me, it was like I absolutely knew on that day that this was the right change of career for me. And
it is part of running your own business and stepping out. If you want to move, even if you don't want to run your own business, if you want to get a job in the industry, it is about just stepping out from one career that you felt comfortable in, but knowing that there was more. At some point you have to step up, you have to put yourself and I say that a lot, but we do say that a lot, that you need to take small steps, and things aren't going to be easy, and you are going to have to motivate yourself when actually everything's saying this is far too scary, don't go through with it, Stacey. You have to I am so do you think you will get or have got business from the styled shoots?
Yeah, I think it's been great in terms of, obviously it gives you imagery you can put out to people. But I always, I won't do a shoot unless I feel like it's going to have some connection to people. I want people to, when I pop stuff on Instagram, to visualize themselves in that kind of style, and that's really important. And I've actually get kind of most of my business and interest through Instagram, so what I put on there is really important. So I love the fact that shoots give me that option, and I can show people what I can do. And I think most of the people I talk to on there have, or comment on the shoots and like their boldness, and that if they want something a little bit different, then it's great because people tend to follow me and comment on that, and that's what I want.
It's definitely got you noticed, hasn't it?
I mean it's scary, like it really is, but I think it's just you just have to do it. Like
it's such a high as well, isn't it?
All.
When it goes well and you've got those images, I mean, it's like it's a mini wedding in itself. Your first ones are, you are nervous, you are worried, but actually, gosh, when it all comes together, the highs and lows of the, whatever goes on throughout it, because it's not all easy planning a style shoot or a wedding. And in the beginning, there'll be some things which you'll think, I'm not going to do that again. That was an error. I'm changed, But when you do it and you complete it and you achieve it and you see those photos, Stacey, that must be like, wow.
Oh, it's the best feeling. As soon as I got those, I cried. I'm such an emotional crier anyway with stuff like that. But when the photographer sent me those very first style shoot photos, I was like,
so what have you done with your style shoots other than using them for your own purposes?
I've got all my shoots published, which is just incredible. Like, it's crazy. Like I can't even imagine that. But
so did you contact people prior to having the styled shoot done, or was it after when you'd got the images?
So whenever I think of a styled shoot, not necessarily with the first one, because I wasn't sure whether I was even going to put that forward, just because it was more for me. But with the others, I always have some kind of publication or blog in mind, if that's what I'm aiming for, because otherwise it's more difficult to submit to them, because you might not have taken the shots that they want and that they go for, and you might not have had enough detail shots that some of them love. So I always think beforehand of I write a list of places, and they might not always say yes, but then that's fine. You can just
so when was the first time you heard about styled shoots? Because we do have a section on it in the course, and we do talk about, where would you like it to be published and where is your ideal. But had you done that bit of the course? How did you find out about styled shoots as a way to really kickstart for your business?
I think I'd come across it in the course, and I kind of, when I was looking at the course anyway, was interested in the styling more than anything else, but I kind of wanted to have the business obviously side, because I knew I wanted to have my own business, and a bit of the planning, just to understand like everything, because I knew nothing about the wedding industry at all. So I thought that was the best option. But when I kept hearing about it in the course, and I think I was looking on just doing research on styled shoots, because it just thought, oh, I'm really interested in this. This looks really cool. I feel like I could maybe do this. So I think I learned about it in the course, then did some research of just, looking at them online and reading about them. And then I think that was probably the part of the course that I read over and over and over again.
Styling stuff, or the style shoot bit.
Yeah, just anything to do with styling, but the style shoot, I think, it just.
So what do you do? What do you offer in your business now? Are you focused very much on the styling? Do you do a bit of everything? What do you do?
Yeah, I've narrowed it down now. At first I was like, I'll maybe try it all when I was launching, but I know that styling is what I love the most, and I want to focus my attention on that. So I do styling and on the day coordination, and they're my two things that I offer now. And it's a lot better for me because they're the things that I absolutely love the most, and that's what people were kind of talking to me about anyway. So I think it's just better for me business wise to just focus on.
In the course we talk so much about finding your ideal client, and really getting a tight niche, and people get really scared of that, and you probably did in the beginning. I did for my first year. I was doing exactly the same thing, and kind of everybody will, because you do get a panic, and you do just think, and in a way you have to throw a lot of stuff out there and then come back and think, why did I offer all of those things? Was a waste of time. Nobody's ever contacted me about them. Let's just do the things that I love and that I like, and that's why we talk a lot about the why. But it does take longer to work out, and you do. I was speaking to somebody a couple of days ago, and I was saying, do you know what? You're just gonna have to try it. I can't give you the exact answers. We can give you the background and all the information to work out your pricing and your services, but I can't tell you exactly which service you could offer at which price. You have to just throw some stuff out there and see. And then when nobody, like you say, everybody knows you for that now, that's what they come to you for. They come to you for the styling. Then you start to realize and recognize it in yourself. And it took me about a year, and then I rebranded a bit and changed my services and upped my prices and took some stuff away. And that's okay, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think you just got, like you say, you just got to try, and you're not going to have all the answers at the beginning. You're not going to get every single answer from the course. You have to just figure it out for yourself. You get the back knowledge, you get the confidence, and you get all the things you need, but you still, like you say, everyone's different. Not everyone's wedding business
in the group, there are such a huge range, isn't there, of people doing different things. You forget, I forget, because I've got my niche, which is like marquee, country, family, church weddings, that the industry is huge, massive, and you've got a different set of skills behind you. I had a different set of skills behind me, different interests, different things I like, and all of those things come together to make your business what it evolves into. And certainly in that student Facebook group, there's all sorts of businesses being thought about or talked about, and when I even see the names of people's businesses and their logos, I'm like, oh, that's a good one. How come I've never seen anything like that before? I've never heard of that name before. That's such a good, how can it still, it's so huge. It's fascinating as well, isn't it, that everybody can do their own thing and find their own place.
Yeah, I always say this, and this is kind of what I have as like my brand kind of ethos a little bit, is that everyone is different. Like, we're not all the same people, and the wedding industry is massive now. Like, there's so many crossovers with fashion and interiors, and all these industries are more connected now than they probably were a long time ago. And you can have those influences, and no two people are the same. So it's just thinking, people love traditional weddings still. That's never going to disappear completely. But then alternative weddings are kind of creeping in, smaller elopement weddings, and you just have to kind of find what you sit with and what you love and what you want to put out there. And there's always ways of being able to do it and attracting people.
It's just a question from Sonia. Sorry, Stacey, how long did it take you from the time you launched your business to get your first client? Did you do styling in the beginning to get your images for your site, or did you ever use any stock images?
I think maybe at the beginning I was kind of very, very beginning, before I launched, when I kind of just had my Instagram floating around. I would use a couple of images, but making sure that I knew where they were coming from. I've never used stock images, just because for my brand I just don't find any that sit with. So
you got quite quickly into the style shoots.
Yeah, and that's why I did one before I launched, because I knew that when I actually did officially launch, I wanted my own images on there, partly for the colours as well, because I knew what kind of stuff I wanted to do. And I
think Kylie's added a link to your website, but and it also says about getting your first clients. How long did that take you? That's very different for everybody, we know, but
yeah, I think what I started doing was, when people started following me, I was just kind of started having conversations with people like who I knew were getting married, and just maybe picking up, not obviously just jumping straight in, but actually getting to know them and picking up on something they might have liked, and maybe giving them a question.
A lot of it is getting yourself out there. Again, in the business units, we talk so much about marketing, and there's lots of subtle ways of telling people what you do and telling people that you're out there, and it's just having a genuine interest as well, isn't it? A genuine interest in them, in the industry. If you have a really strong passion for what you're doing, for your style, for the kinds of weddings that you like, that all comes across and resonates with people, and then they're attracted to you without it being too heavy a sell.
Yeah,
they feel it, I think, don't they? There's something that you can, I feel it in your styled shoots. I can see it, I can feel it, and that's that really helps.
I think it's just being real with people as well, and like, you know, I think I always try and pick up on stuff that people have liked, and that, you know, if I go on their profile, I'll just pick, maybe they might have posted that they were looking for something, or they were inspired by something, and then I just find that and we chat. And I think my first client was probably a couple of months in. That wedding hasn't been yet, unfortunately, because most of them are this year.
How are things with you at the moment? What are you planning on doing in the future, and how's it sort of affected the business at the moment? Obviously, it's a bit on hold.
Yeah, I've had a couple of clients this year who postponed to next year, so it's going to be a very busy 2021. Like in spring, everyone seems to have rearranged to then, but that's really exciting. It just means that I can kind of focus on getting stronger as a business and kind of getting out there a little bit more. And that's kind of what I've been doing, is still connecting with people and, you know, chatting to potential clients and dealing with that, but also kind of making my brand a bit stronger, so that it's, you know, I'm putting it in a few different places and trying to get the shoots featured in different places, and, you know, myself onto directories and places where I feel like I know that my ideal clients are looking. And it, you know, just kind of having a bit of time really at the moment to build.
Absolutely. You've got to use what we've got. We can't change the situation. That's in a way one of the easier things of it, is that actually there's strict rules. You know, there's no, so all I would say is, for everyone listening, that you don't have to do it all at once. So like Stacey, you sound like, you know, you've got this sorted, you're doing styled shoots in the business, and you know, but you just put yourself out there in little ways in the beginning, and then you did your first styled shoot. It was scary, but then you set up and you got your Instagram, and then you just work on that for a bit, and then once you've got your Instagram, then you think about maybe something else, and it's, even now you're still thinking about how you can work on this, connecting with people, improving your Instagram, improving the services that you're offering. You've changed them, you've tweaked them. So I think a lot of it is just about doing something, isn't it? Just starting something that you think you can manage as well.
Yeah, it's just finding like the one thing that you feel comfortable with the most. And I think for most people, it's just maybe creating a social media account to begin with, and just kind of thinking about what you want to put out to the world for your business. And you might not necessarily fully have launched yet, or, you know, I set up Instagram because I knew that was where I wanted to predominantly be, but I didn't have a website when I launched. I think I created that like 2 months later, and now I'm just in the process of getting a new one done. And it's just kind of keeping on top of stuff and seeing what goes well and seeing where people are. And you don't have to, you know, don't feel like you have to launch with everything set to go. Some people do, and that works fine. But for me, it was I kind of grew with it a little bit, and then I'm still growing now. I'm still kind of finding new ways.
We all are. We're all evolving and changing and adapting. Yeah. Oh, Stacey, thank you. It's so nice to talk to you. Nice to connect. We're going to do a few more of these. Yeah, thank you. Lovely. It's lovely. Love seeing your images. Love seeing the styled shoots, the work that you're doing, and just so nice that you found your niche. Have you been singing online? I saw you.
I sing now and again. I don't know. Singing terrifies me, to be totally honest, which is kind of why I never did it. But it's kind of my thing for me. It de-stresses me a little bit when when you're having a day where nothing's going right, which everyone has, that I'll just go and have a sing. So you might find the odd singing post.
Yeah, now and again. Yeah. I'd see there's one I remember. I don't know. You think you were in your kitchen?
No, yeah, good acoustics in my kitchen.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Anyway, so nice to connect with you. Thank you. And thank you to everybody for watching us live. Tiana, Stacey, some of you, I can't see your names. It doesn't pop up with the StreamYard thing. Amanda, Gillian, Leah, Monica, Liz, anybody else who's live. Thank you so much. If you do have any questions, I'll be around and I can answer them. Yeah, it's just nice, isn't it, Tiana, just to see what other people do. Everybody's going to approach this differently, and that's okay too. We do not at the Academy advocate everybody doing the same thing. We want you to explore and try things out and come back to us and find your own way through it. So yeah, that's what's so exciting about the industry. Right, anyway, thank you, Stacey. Have a good rest of your day. Yeah, talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.